Hey everybody, welcome to Shark Scrapper Live, where every week we talk about precious metals, industrial metals, stocks of companies that are in this world of scrapping and recycling, safety and business notes, and just look at all the fun that we can have with the comments that pop up. I am Shark Scrapper. It is great to be here. We've had a fantastic week around here, and I hope that you have had a good week as well. We had a little weather settle in. And I know that across the U.S., some folks have been dealing with some weather. So hopefully you are able to keep a little bit warm and dry this week. We are coming down to the stretch for the Christmas vacation. So I also hope that for those of you that exchange Christmas presents, that you've got all your presents already. I'd hate to be going out shopping this time of year. Welcome, Andrew Powell. Great to have you here all the way in from New Zealand, scrapping Irish on the other side of the other pond in Ireland. Roger, see you scrapping. JR a cat. Bush Dog, electronic scrapper. It is great to have you all here. Let's see, anybody else come in while Christian Kurkowski. Let's see, are you from Poland? Let's see, I saw a note here. Poland, awesome, welcome, great to have you here. And Scrap It All is in the house as well. It is fantastic to have everybody here today. Wow, what a week it's been for our favorite metals, our two favorite metals. We are going to dive right into them because there's some really fun stuff going on here. So let's get right over to gold and look at this. Here's the 24-hour gold, and we've had a nice climb here just in 24 hours. So we're up 1.67%. And if we look at what's going on for, that one, for the last 3 days, we see that we were kind of hanging out, kind of stalled, and then we had a nice climb here late in the 3-day period, dropped just a touch, and then is back up again. So real nice 3 days for gold. If we look at the week, we had these plateau things going on here. So relatively flat, then we jump up, we're relatively flat again, and then we jump up again. So gold is doing real nice here. This is what we like to see because, even if you don't own gold as scrappers, we are selling boards, our PC boards and components for the gold value. And that's really the thing that sets most of the price on our scrap components. So here we see that for the 1 month period, we had this drop, and we were talking about that and what's going on. But this is what's really nice to see here: a nice steady upward trend. Those kind of steady upward trends motivate places like boardsort.com to either push their prices up or at least hold their prices, which is very good for us. On the 3 month, we are overall up 6.73%. So real nice rise going on here. And then year to date, we're up. Here, look at this. We started down here. We're up here. And we are above the highs here. Look, if we go from here over here, we can see that we are above the high for the year to date. Let's see, are we above for the year? Yep, we're at session highs for the year too. So that's really good. Real nice trend there for gold. Well, why? What's going on? So let's just go back here to the 1 month period. And come on. What is the deal here? Why are you slowing down? All right, there we are. So we're going to go back here to the 1 month period, and we're just going to ask the question of, why. So there's really two things that are going on that are the primary drivers. Probably one of the biggest primary drivers, is economic conditions, and a big chunk of that is driven by what's going on with U.S. Federal interest rates, right? So the Fed rate, and right now there are a bunch of people who are starting to bet that the Fed is going to start lowering rates again next year. So what that means is that gold starts to become in favor again. So folks are starting to buy gold. Now there's gold futures, people banking on what the price is going to be 6 months, a year plus down the road. And then there's the people that are buying. So as folks start to, folks being big investors and that kind of group start to say that, yeah, the Fed's going to stop raising rates now, and we're going to start lowering the Fed interest rate, they're going to start going into gold because, that's where their safe haven is. Now, the other big thing, of course, is the unrest that we see going on in the Middle East. Unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because I hate the fact that I benefit from the unrest that goes on in the world. But when you have things like the Israel-Hamas situation and the Russia-Ukraine situation, that uncertainty, that contention causes people to go to gold for safety. So we see gold prices going up, and I would expect that we'll probably see this continue for a while here. Most of the analysts believe that it hasn't quite topped out yet, so we're going to keep seeing some more of this gold increase. So yeah, it's a good time to start selling your components. And if you've been hoarding a stash and waiting for prices to get going, might be a good time. We go over here. Let's do this. I'm not one of these people that necessarily likes to time the market trying to get the highest price I can. But as you all know, I do hold things that I refer to as strategic reserve, and then I have my cash flow stuff. And I don't really hold boards and electronic scrap necessarily as a strategic reserve the way I do copper. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But it's mostly, I was filling up that great big Gaylord box of boards. That just took me a little bit of time to get that done. And so I got a decent price for that. And I'll have some more coming in here because I've still got another pallet or so of the computers that need to get taken apart. So yeah, be looking to sell your boards because prices are going to be good. They might go up a little bit more, but I wouldn't, I wouldn't necessarily play the timing game. The only thing that you can be guaranteed of when you play the market timing game is that you're going to lose money. So, all right. E-Waste Mike, welcome. HH Recycling, welcome. Great to have you guys here. Let's see. What did y'all have to say about gold while we were talking? Roger's internet decided to give him trouble. Hopefully that will resolve itself quickly, Roger. JR Cat, yeah, those sucker sticks are going to go up. Yeah, we ought to check. We'll have to see what board sorts got going for Irish sucker sticks. In fact, I'm going to bring that up here while we're talking, and then we can take a look here. Let's go over here and let's go boardsort.com, e-scrap prices. Let's go down to RAM and Irish sucker sticks. Yep, look at that. There's the Irish sucker sticks. Now, if they don't have Scrapping Irish's logo on there, they're not authentic Irish sucker sticks. So, don't be fooled. All right, so let's see. What are they offering? $23 a pound right now. So, yep, if you've got some Irish sucker sticks, $23 a pound. That's a good price. Good price. All right. Urban Prospector, welcome. Said hoarding. How'd you get pictures of Oh, man, that's funny. Oh, man. All right. Well, yeah, I what can I say, man? I'm a shark. Hey, speaking of sharks, so just before we came on today, I was like a clumsy clod here. I moved my elbow and I knocked over my coffee cup, and so I shattered my favorite coffee mug. So that was dead, and we got it cleaned up, and I had to resort to a backup mug. This is one of those mugs where when you put a hot liquid in it, the hidden images reveal themselves. So I've got all kinds of sharks swimming around, getting ready to eat people. So that's a fun. I've had this mug for a while. So it's just kind of fun to have. Ryan, welcome. Great to have you here. All righty. So our safety, yeah, I really should have, for our safety note, I should have talked about, try not to be clumsy. But what I really want to talk about for safety is not sunglasses, but eye protection. We've talked about this before, but one of the important things about safety is that you continuously remind people, always keep it up front and center so that folks don't become callous to the issue of safety. I had a couple of times when I was scrapping things this week, and it's not like I was grinding or I was doing anything that was throwing up a bunch of sparks or dust or any of that kind of stuff. But just I turned my head and there happened to be something nearby, and I thought to myself, maybe I ought to just start wearing my safety goggles when I'm in the shark cage all the time, or at least some sort of safety glasses. So I may go back to doing that. There's been too many times when it's not as if I was doing anything that I said, oh, I need to put my safety glasses on, but yet then I end up bumping into something, or there's something hanging down and I walk past it, that kind of stuff. I can remember one of the manufacturing facilities that I worked in, you actually were required to wear safety, eye protection when you entered certain parts of the building, even if you were not involved in the manufacturing process. Even if you were just, walking through that part of the building, you still had to have your eye protection on. Now, for many people there, they had prescription glasses that were safety glass, so that was allowed. We always had plenty of safety glasses. We had boxes right at the entrance where you could grab a pair if you forgot to bring yours with you. I used to just have mine hanging on a cord around my neck all the time because I was constantly moving through the facility. So it's just something to think about. With sunglasses, one of the things that you want to think about is that they are ballistic rated sunglasses. Now, these are Oakley's. So these are quote unquote ballistic sunglasses. I've seen pictures where, they've shot at them, and I've thought to myself, okay, that's all well and good, but when that bullet knocks the sunglasses out of the way, now what's happening to it? So I'm really not sure that I want to get shot in the eye, whether I have these on or not. But I've been wearing Oakley's, since I was in the Navy. They're very good protection for your eyes when you're, if you're out riding a bike, if you're out on a motorcycle, if you're on a motorcycle, you ought to have your helmet on anyway. But if the wind is blowing real hard, these things are going to protect your eyes from stuff that would otherwise, beat into you. So remember that your sunglasses should offer you protection as well. And you want to protect your eyes from the UV rays. So you want sun protection when you're outside, whether it's summer or winter, doesn't matter. In fact, a lot of times the winter is even worse because, man, I swear, sometimes I think that sun in the winter is brighter and just burning down on you. In fact, the worst sunburn I ever had in my life was when I was skiing. It was back in my younger days. And I went up, I was up in the mountains. I got up there just before a snowstorm shut all the roads down. And the next morning, beautiful powder, took the lifts all the way up to the top of the mountain. I was one of the first skiers up there. It was gorgeous, but there wasn't a cloud in the sky. And I actually decided to ski without a shirt on, because it was one of those things where it was cold, but the sun was warming you up so much And I ended up with this hellacious sunburn while I was snow skiing. Just, yeah, really, not very bright on my part, but just you got to watch out for that winter sun. Daniel Houston, welcome. Great to have you here. That's right, Recycling. Great to have you here. Ryan saying that for everybody in Michigan, you probably don't need sunglasses until May. Yeah. Folks that live in really cloudy places, it's probably not a challenge that you need to worry about. This is a really good one from Bush Dog. Don't rub your eyes after scrapping a broken flat screen. Yeah. Oh man. It's really one of those things that we all. I mean, I have to consciously think about it myself, right? I'll have my safety gloves on, and I'll get an itch or a tick or something like that, by my eye that I want to rub, but it's like, no, not with my gloves on, because I have no idea what kind of nasty is on my gloves. And if you're not wearing gloves, then on your hand, and even if kind of, and I'm guilty of this. It's like I'll take the back of my glove and I'll do like this. Even that's not really smart, because you can still have, stuff on your glove that you don't want to be rubbing around your eyeballs. So it's you definitely want to be careful of that. And of course, our eyeballs are, man, we can operate with one. And I feel really bad for anybody that doesn't have sight out of both eyes, or at least one eye, because it's a hard life when you're not a sighted person. So safety, eye protection, and be aware of where your elbows are going so you don't knock your coffee mugs off of the table all over the deck. All right. Well, it is time to get on to our next metal. And this is another one of our favorite metals, copper. Man, do we love copper. Let's see, what do we got going on here for Kitco? So I like using Kitco's website, except for the fact that we get all these advertisements from them. And we're going to get rid of you. And then we got BJ's wholesale club here. So we're going to get rid of BJ's. And I don't want to see any comments from Mike about BJ's. And we're going to get right into copper here. So here's our 24-hour copper. That's nice. Look at that. Look at that. Compared to some of the stuff that we've seen going on with copper, boy, it is nice to see a rise going on here. Here's our 30-day. And look at this, from the low up to look at that. And then the overall period for the 30-day is real nice, but this is really nice here. I mean, how long have we been talking about what's going on with copper, and is it going to come up? And boy, howdy, it is sure nice to see an upward trend on copper for a change. Now let's go on over here. Here's our 60-day copper. So you can, here's the 30-day, and the 30-day period starts kind of around here, something like that. And this is where you can see how the charts can sort of wash out a little bit when you start opening up the aperture or the window that you're looking at. But even on this 60-day, if we go from the end of this spike here, or trough, we can see that's a nice upward trend. I mean, very clear. So really nice to see copper starting to come back up. Now, are these huge gains? Yeah, not really, but you know what? They're holding, and they're good enough. So it's nice to see that gain going on. A lot of people refer to copper as Dr. Copper because they say that it is a proxy for the health of the economy. And what's really nice here, look at this, for this 6-month chart, we see here's this rise that we just were talking about. And we can see that the early part of the 6-month interval, prices were dropping. Now they're starting to come back up again. And that's telling us that the economy is getting healthy again, and I'm referring to global economy here, that we're starting to see things start to pick up and build, and manufacturing coming back, or at least the folks that invest the big serious money are seeing that, because that's what's driving a lot of these spot prices coming up. So real nice, nice, steady, slow rise. I'm really happy to see that. I'd rather see that than some big spike, because when you see these spikes, that the spikes are not, don't give you any kind of trend information. But when you see a nice steady rise going on here, that's real nice. Here's our 1 year. And if we look at 1 year ago to where we are now, that's a little bit of an upward trend. Now, of course, we had prices up much nicer early on, and then they've fallen. So, from the beginning of the year to the end, we're up a little bit. So that's a good thing. Hey, Grandpa Kevin, great to have you here. I'm really excited to see these copper prices coming up, and hopefully these copper prices will sustain now their upward trend. And I would be perfectly happy with a moderately slow continuous upward trend in the copper prices, because that really helps to lock in and give scrap yards the good feeling that it's okay for them to start raising prices. If we look at the 5 year, we see back here, we had these lows way back here. This is what we're talking about, this little rise right here that you can barely see in the 5 year chart. So we've got a ways to go before we get back to some of these highs that were, a couple years ago, back in 21-ish. And so, but we'll get there, right? I think we're going to see this. Now, don't be surprised if, we get some stuff falling off and then it comes back again, because there's always the ups and downs in the market, but it's the long-term trend that we want to see rising. Well, let's take a look at what's going on with the inventory levels, because those inventory levels are always, we like to see them going down with the prices going up. And sure enough, here we go. 30-day COMEX inventory levels dropping. 60-day COMEX inventories dropping. Here's the 30-day London Metal Exchange, not dropping as significantly as COMEX looked, but from the peak stocking levels, it has dropped off. And that is that is consistent with, here, let's go back. Let's see here. What day is this? This is 16 November. So let's go up to the 30-day spot price. 30-day copper spot. Here we have, boink. So here we have about 18 November, and the prices are going up. So these prices have, started going up even before the inventory started to really drop off significantly. But folks probably, the industry folks probably saw what was going on and started, driving those prices. So here's our 60-day London Metal Exchange. Yeah, we're up. I mean, if you look at the beginning of the 60-day period to the end, the inventory levels are up, but look at this jaggedness going on here. Ups, down, up, down. And overall trend, if we look at this peak and this peak, they're headed down. If we look at this trough to this trough, they're headed up. So they're merging out here somewhere. And, we'll see how they eventually break from that. Here's our 6-month inventory levels. And what we can see from here is that, yeah, they started building up those inventory levels. And we had been talking about this for for a while now. But then there was this drop off, and they're burning through some of it. So, we really love watching that burn up that inventory level. Let's consume that inventory level, because that means the prices are going to go up. There's our 1 year, and here's our 5-year inventory levels. And what I like when I see something like this is, if you draw these peaks, those peaks keep going down. If you draw these troughs keep going down. So even on the shorter terms, they may be converging. On longer terms, you can see that, for the long-term history, we're just not putting as much copper back into the inventory as we are consuming. So that's a good thing for us scrappers, because that means that copper will continue to have good long-term value for us. Again, I want to go back and reiterate my policy, the way I treat copper, just for your consideration. I'm very curious to see what you all are doing. But I retain about 10% of my higher grade copper, my copper 1 and my Bear Bright. What I mean by that is when I'm getting ready to when I have a load a bin that I would normally be taking in to sell, I'll take 10% out, set it aside, and then I'll go sell it. Now, what I've actually been doing lately is keeping all of my number 1 copper and my Bear Bright behind. I've been able to make enough off of my number 2 copper and my insulated copper wire and my aluminum to cover my cash flow requirements. So that's allowed me to stockpile my number 1 copper and my Bear Bright in anticipation of some price recovery. I have the luxury of some space to do that, and I can still meet my cash flow demands, so it works for me. I'm very curious to see what all of you are doing as you deal with your copper, because I know a lot of you are dealing with copper out there. Andrew Powell, welcome back, man. Great to see you back in the and trust everything is going well in New Zealand. All right, so here we are. We're back over now. I do want to point out, just because I use the APMEX website, the Kitco website, I am not sponsored by either one of them. I use those places when I buy and sell my physical gold and silver. Both of them are very reputable. I've had no issues at all when I've dealt with them. So you can feel good doing business with them. JM Bullion is another good one that you can use. I'm not sponsored by any of them. I just like the charts that they have available for me, and I'm used to looking at them. They're good places to go to. All right, our business note for the day. Like so many things with my live stream, this is being driven by recent occurrence. Some of you may have seen my post about my website getting hacked. So a few days ago, I got an email from a business contact of mine, said, "Hey, I think your website was hacked." And sure enough, it had gotten hacked. So the good news is that I now pay a company to manage my website for me. When I created my website, I did it all on my own. I went to namecheap.com and I got my domain name and I registered the website. I got, email address, all that kind of stuff. I went and got an Elementor subscription so that I could build and create the website. And it was a great learning experience. And I enjoyed learning how to build and maintain the website myself, but it was becoming burdensome. And I knew that I was not keeping up with a lot of the updates and things that are necessary to really work your website properly. So I did some looking around. I found a company through my Business Networking International group that manages websites. They do the full spectrum. They can take you from nothing and create your website, build it, maintain it, or if you already have a website, they can help you clean it up, get it optimized, and those kind of things. And this particular group, really easy to work with, Ward Design Group. If I want to make any changes, I can send an email to the program manager and boom, it's done. little stuff, kind of things. Well, so I got this call, and I called my contact, the program manager, shot her an email and said, I think I've been hacked. Could you take a look at this? Let me know what's going on. They got back to me within a few minutes and said, yeah, we've taken it down. We're going to try to figure out what happened. But in the meantime, we're going to shut everything down. We're going to rebuild the site for you, and we're going to put it on a more secure platform. And all this kind of stuff. So they literally stayed in overnight. I did not expect them to do it. It's not like my website is that critical to what I'm doing right now. I hope that it will be in the future. Right now, my website wasn't that critical. But their policy is that, they get right on these things. So they stayed through the night and rebuilt my website and had it back up the next day. They put a bunch more safeguards in there, and they were they're trying to figure out what happened. How did it get hacked? So the reason I bring this up is because internet security is really important to all of us in this day and age. And it doesn't matter if you have your own website, or you're just using other websites, or all you have is a YouTube channel or an Instagram channel or any of those kind of things. There are lots of opportunities for bad guys, people that have evil intent, to steal your credit card information, steal your personal identity information, try to become you so that they can take all of your hard-earned money. Or perhaps they're just, useless little turds of life that have nothing better to do than make life difficult for those of us that are trying to get by in this world. I don't personally understand that mentality of, what can I do to make someone else's life more difficult? What can I do to make somebody else mad? What can I do to inconvenience somebody else? That's an anathema to me. I don't get it. I don't get that mindset. But there's plenty of other people that do, and that's what they're into. So it's unfortunate that those kind of folks are out there. So we have got to protect ourselves. Now, what does that mean in the way of internet protection? So, in the case of my website, I have professionals now that I can turn to when these things happen. Think of it as an insurance policy, because it's going to happen. You can't go through this life without these kind of things happening to us. So I have these professionals that I can rely on to take care of it when it happens. My wife has always given me a hard time about my passwords, because it's just I create these really hard passwords with uppercase, lowercase, numbers, special symbols. They're just all over the place. No password that I have is the same on any other password site. They're all different. And yeah, it makes it challenging, because I admit I have to have a cheat sheet so that I can remember them all. But I figure, that's fine, because the only way someone's going to get the cheat sheet is to break into my house and look for the cheat sheet, right? So I'm fine with that. It does make it difficult when I'm on the road and I have to try to remember a password to get in to do something. That's an entirely different story. But make sure that you have, at least the minimum number of characters that whatever your site is requires. Make sure that you mix them up, uppercase, lowercase, numbers, special characters. Come up with some scheme, if you have to, that you can try to remember. Do not do what J.R. Cat is suggesting. This is a bad password. And do not use password as your password, okay? That would be, yeah, I wouldn't suggest that. Well, maybe, I don't know, Irish. The other things that we need to do to protect ourselves is understand when you are surfing online, make sure you understand the risks of the sites that you are going into, have some sort of password protection or screener or those kind of things. Now, this was actually kind of funny. Because of this incident, I went in and I was checking the computers to make sure that we were good with as far as the computers. And that's when I realized it's like I've got 4 different antivirus, anti-spam, anti-whatevers going on our computers here at the house. And that's not a good thing. You might think, well, it makes them more secure, but no, it doesn't. What it does is it bogs down your computer. Don't have all 4 of them running at the same time on each computer. But what I didn't realize was that when I changed from one to another, I didn't cancel the automatic subscription that was going on. So I was paying for 4 different antivirus, anti-spam, privacy protection things. So you might be worth checking out that too. Make sure you're not paying for stuff you're not getting. So anyway, it helped give me a reason to go back and look at that so I can get that cleaned up. You need to have some sort of antivirus kind of protection, but the best protection is just be aware of the sites that you're going to. And when you get emails from people that have links, don't open the links unless you really know who that person is, or you have good comfort that that link is okay to open. When I get a lot of email inquiries from people that, say, follow this link to our product. We'd like to sponsor you. That gets challenging because, I know I'm out there, and yes, as a YouTube creator, I would like to have sponsors or affiliate relationships. When I get these things out of the blue, what I usually do is then go back and try to find them online. I don't use their links at all. I go look up their company, the name of their company or the name of their product. If I can find them online, then I will go try to find a support address, an admin address, something of that nature, so that I can write to them and confirm, did you send me an email requesting me to look at your product? If I can find a phone number, I can call them and confirm it. I know that seems like that's going crazy, but it's just so easy for bad people to try to take advantage of good people, and good people who are just too damn trusting sometimes out there. So pay attention for links that are in the emails. Don't open those links. Be very mindful of those kind of sneaky ways for people to get in. Of course, if you're using your credit card out and about town, you have to watch for skimmers on the credit card. That's a physical device that will try to read the information off of your credit card. So you want to watch for those. And usually you just go up to the credit card reader and pull on it, shake it a little bit. And unless they're really good at the way they're hiding the skimmer, you may not even, you'll probably, if they've attached a physical skimmer, you'll probably be able to see it, recognize it if you're paying attention for it. But, especially with like gas pumps and things like that, you really want to be careful with those. That's a very common place for people to try to put skimmers. Let's see, the other internet concerns that you're going to have are, folks that are just trying to guess passwords out there for your social media platforms, because if they can get into your social media platform, they might be able to find a backdoor into your other services. I mean, think about it. Your YouTube, if you're in the partner program, YouTube has all your credit card information or a bank account where they can put the money. And so if somebody can take over your YouTube account, then they can go after your bank account. So it's worth keeping those separated or have some protections there as well. And just make sure you know who you're giving password information out to. Probably not a big deal for us, but the larger YouTubers, they have a team of people, and anybody on that team could screw up and open a vulnerability that could let someone in to hack somebody's website. I mean, can you imagine the damage that could be done to Mr. Beast if somebody hacked into his his account, his website. Oh man! Of course, could you also imagine the video that Mr. Beast would create if somebody hacked into his? That would be that would be something. So I've really gone on about this, and it was a personal attack this week, going after my website. Fortunately, my website isn't critical to my business right now. It will be in the future. It just isn't right now. And I am paying professionals to be able to fix these things and to take care of these things for me. So my website is now up again. It is better protected, stronger than it was before. And it opened my eyes to those vulnerabilities even more. Hopefully none of you will have to experience any of this. I don't know. What do you think? Is being skinned alive and drawn and quartered sufficient punishment for hackers out there? Or is that a little harsh? Yeah. All right. Stock market report for the week. Now, if you are one of my patrons, one of my Patreon supporters, you got a heads up on what we're talking about. And you got to see this week what I do behind the scenes getting ready to share this information. So hopefully that was fun for you all. But here we are. We're talking about two approaches to energy. One is big oil, and the other one is natural gas. Now, in the big oil market, there are two companies that come to play very quickly. They are names that I'm sure everybody recognizes. And the first one that we're talking about is Chevron. Chevron has a nice yield at 4.4% on $144. And when you think about it, $144 really isn't that bad for a name like Chevron. Plus you're getting that 4%. So it was a very reasonable company to think about. And they are qualified as a Div Zero. So 17 years of increasing dividends per share, actually much more than 17 years. They've been very good about raising their dividends and taking care of their investors in that regard. And here's what Chevron looks like graphically. So you can see here's that nice steady upward trend. If I make the line a little bit thicker, you won't even be able to see the actual line. So yeah, the oil industry has its ups and downs, and that's just to be part of the game with the oil industry, right? What I thought was interesting about Chevron was that they have decided to buy Hess. So I'm sure I know here in the U.S., some of you who are my age will remember getting the Hess gasoline truck or fuel truck as a Christmas present. That used to be a really big deal, getting the Hess truck for Christmas. So Chevron is going to buy Hess. It looks like it's been approved and should be finalized in 2024. So that's really interesting, in that consolidation kind of thing going on. Now, I will say that the value line assessment folks, they believe the stock is going to underperform for the year ahead, and they anticipate that rising sales and earnings per share are going to be challenged. They say that Chevron is well positioned in the markets. And that capital investment should allow it to benefit from increasing worldwide energy demand. So price growth persistence is subpar, and earnings predictability is very low. But patient, risk-tolerant subscribers may find this a good stock to own. I do own Chevron. I've bought shares a long time back in it. And I currently own some Chevron, just to be open and honest with everybody. Now we're going to compare Chevron to one of their lead competitors here, and that is ExxonMobil. So Exxon Mobil is at 3.6%, and that's on 104, almost $105 a share. And just like Chevron, they are a Div Zero, so 17 years of increasing dividends per share for the last 17, actually much longer. If we go look at the chart here, you can see that with Exxon, they're not quite, they didn't have as much of the up and down as Chevron had. They actually look like overall, here, look at this. They actually look like for a long time, they were kind of trending down here, and then they've just recently sort of picked up. But the important thing for us as dividend investors is this nice upward trend with no flat or down years in the dividends. So they've made a point of taking care of their investors. The other thing that I want to point out about Exxon is that they seem to be taking the perspective that they are not just an oil company, but they are a company that is a source of energy for people. So they have turned to lithium production, right? So they're looking to buy some lithium assets, mines, production capability, things of that nature. So you want to look into and keep an eye on Exxon, because they maybe, I say may because I don't know. I'm not in the boardroom. I haven't read anything that specifically says, yes, this is what they're doing. But it looks like Exxon is saying, you know what? Yeah, we've been an oil company, but what we really are is a company that provides energy to people. And so lithium has the potential to be the energy source or the major energy source of the future. So they're getting into lithium. By the way, the Value Line Investment Survey says that the stock's investment characteristics are not jumping off the page. They're neutrally ranked for year ahead performance. And despite a modest step back in value over the past 3 months, the equity is still trading firmly inside of their 3 to 5 year target price range. They recommend subscribers hold off for now until a better entry point is available. So if you were thinking about going into the oil and gas market, maybe Chevron is the place to go for right now. If you wanted to buy in right now. And this is a good point for me to address the issue, because I'm sure that some of you may be thinking, well, do I really want to be involved in oil, dirty oil? I mean, is that what I want to be involved in? Isn't that, here, my position on this is that, we as a modern human society must have energy. Energy drives all of our growth, all of our progress, everything that we're doing. And if the oil companies can be motivated to do like Exxon is doing and look for other sources of energy and be a part of the transition to cleaner energy sources, then that's good. That's a good thing for us all. And as an owner in those stocks, as a shareholder in those companies, I have the ability, it's a small ability, but I have an ability to be able to submit to the board of directors my concerns and my input that says, what are you doing to help be more green? What are you helping to reduce carbon footprint? What are you doing to help us to make the transitions? I don't believe that we're ever going to be completely away from oil. I think that's a silly idea. I think that oil will always be a part of our energy requirements as humans on this planet. But I do believe that we must shift to cleaner sources of energy moving forward where we can and where it makes sense. And if companies like Exxon and Chevron can be a part of making that happen, so much the better. And they're ideally positioned to do it because they understand energy much better than most people do. So now Urban Prospector asks a good question. If OPEC decides to dump oil back on the market, what could happen to the price? They've been through this, right? OPEC has tried this in the past. That's part of what happens with the ups and downs that you see in these companies, in their price, in their earnings, and their cash flow per share. They've been through oil getting dumped, oil spigots getting turned off, embargoes, those kind of things go on all the time. And it's companies like Chevron and Exxon that are able to weather those storms and deal with those challenges better than most out there. So I'm not that worried about what the impact could be to the investments that I have in these companies if OPEC does that, because these companies are big enough with enough reserves and other ways to manage those kind of crises. And, the influence of OPEC, while it's still important, while it's still a major player in the pricing scheme of things, they don't necessarily have the sway that they used to have. There's other countries out there, including the United States, that have significant reserves. And just this week, China announced that they found some major oil reserves. So there are a lot of other players out there in this market. OPEC, yes, they're an important player, but they're not as important as they used to be. All right, so we're going to shift gears now. It's still an energy play, but this one is a little different. By the way, for those of you that don't know, I want to point out that the Value Line Investment Survey, this document here, that I get all my information, that I get the basis of my information from, does not take any advertising. So everything that they provide to me every week is just raw numbers and then their independent analysis of the numbers. Because they're not taking any advertising dollars, they don't have to worry about how they present the data. So they're doing their best to present, a unbiased, here's what the numbers are telling us, here's what we've seen going on in the market, here's what the executives of these companies are saying, and what that potentially means. I am not sponsored by Value Line. In fact, I just paid for my next 5 years worth of subscriptions to them, and boy, howdy, that's a hefty price tag. So I'm not getting anything by referring to them or promoting them here. I just like their source. It's good information, and it puts me on a good basis so that when I go out and do other information, other data searching out there, I can decide, if somebody is really trying to twist the numbers because, they're being paid off. These guys I know are not being paid off. All right, so our next company to look at is a very interesting one because it is a natural gas company, a natural gas utility, UGI. Look at that, 7.3%. That's a really nice dividend. It should have been in gold too. I got to see what's going on. So that should have been in gold because it's over 4%. And the green tells you that I own some stock in UGI, 7.3%. And look at that, $20.64. That's a very, very affordable stock. So yeah, if you're looking to make some dividends, I would say that this is a really good place for you to take a look at. Assuming you want to get into the energy, put energy into your portfolio, so to speak. A Div Zero, 17 plus years of increasing dividends per share. They've actually been at it longer than 17 years. Here's what they look like graphically. Not as much of the up and down as we saw with either of the oil companies. They had a little bit of challenges in here, like a lot of people did, but overall, some real nice trends going on with their cash flow, their earnings, and their dividends per share. So a really nice company to look at from that consideration. Now, here's another one of the things. So UGI operates 6 business segments. AmeriGas Propane. Now, some of you that are, I just realized that when I was talking about this, I did not have the chart up. Oh man, can you believe I did that? So here is the UGI chart, and here's their dividends going up for 17 years right there. 17 plus years. And here's the actual numbers up here for you to look at. So 17 years of increasing dividends per share. Their yield 7.3 on $20.64. I apologize. Can't believe nobody dropped a comment and said something. That would have been the perfect opportunity to say, Shark, get your act together. UGI, they own the AmeriGas propane, and you've probably seen AmeriGas, in front of your grocery store or your Wawa, your 7-Eleven, whatever, where you can exchange your propane gas bottles. Then they also do gas utility work, mainstream, and such. So they've got their hands in a lot of stuff. They're also international. They're overseas. They're in Europe. So this is not a U.S. only play here. They're investors with a long-term approach should make a note and consider picking up these shares at a good discount. So what the folks at Value Line are saying is right now these shares are discounted. They're at a nice low. It's a good company. This is when you want to be buying into good companies, when their share prices are down. Hey, Earl, welcome to the show. Here's one of these classic Buffett scenarios. Good company, stock price is low, go in and buy. Now, unlike Warren Buffett, we don't have millions of dollars to throw at this, but you don't have to have millions of dollars to throw at this, because with a share price of $20 a share, you could probably get yourself a pretty decent little portfolio going here with these guys before their prices start to come back up again. I know I'm going to take a look at it, even though right now I'm trying to keep as much cash on hand as I can for my move for next year. I'm sorely tempted to go add to my position here, because it's just hard to not want to do that with those kind of numbers. All righty. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. Again, I apologize for not putting the chart up there when I shifted over. That was just, I don't know what, I was looking at the chart. I wasn't looking at the screen, so I didn't realize that I hadn't put the chart up. Not real brilliant. Sometimes I don't know what goes on in this shark head of mine. But I do know that we are coming close to when it's time to head across the pond. So I'd like to see if there are any last comments, any last questions, thoughts, concerns, positions on any of the stocks we've been talking about. Wait a minute, JR Cat says that the new trucks, look at that, the new trucks are coming out. Yeah, I'm looking for, yeah, I don't buy them anymore, but I always like to see what they come out with. JR Cat's referring to the Hess Christmas trucks. I always love seeing what they come out with every year. It's such a fun marketing thing that they've done. Let's see. Patrick is saying, hi guys, late in, but we'll watch back. Copper will go through the roof next year early. Okay, I agree. I think it's going to keep climbing, man. I see copper going up, so I'm looking forward to that, and I hope that you are right. Don't see any other comments coming up here. I keep on bringing my coffee cup up like I'm going to take a swig, and then I don't. So I'm just going to set it down there before I knock that one over too. Remember, if you haven't completed your Christmas shopping, you better get out there and complete your Christmas shopping. You're running out of time. If you have autoplay enabled, when I end this stream in about a minute, you will be automatically redirected across the Atlantic Ocean to Ireland, where we will join Scrapping Irish for his live stream. There's no telling what can happen during his stream. We don't know who's going to come up on the panel from week to week. We don't know what kind of questions are going to come up. So it's always a fun time over in Ireland, chatting with Scrapping Irish. and the crowd. If you do not have autoplay enabled, you can still get there. All you have to do is go to the YouTube homepage, type in Scrapping Irish, and it'll pop up, and you'll be able to go over to his stream that way. Urban Prospector, what was the, oh, here we are. Right here, I still have it available. So 7.3%. That was as of the 24th of November, and that was on $20.64. Urban Prospector is also asking us to shop local and save his back. Yeah, I mean, we've between FedEx and Amazon and the post office folks, I think there's been somebody at the door twice a day for the last week. And I've had to make a couple of runs already to the UPS store to get stuff shipped out. So, all right, everybody, we're going to head across the pond. It's been a load of fun, and we'll see you all over in Ireland in just a few minutes. Have a great day and a fantastic week.